Legal action. Having some understanding of the law that relates to your privacy and personal data protection rights is very useful when deciding which online services to use. It's also useful should you get into a dispute with a website owner, or indeed should you wish to take legal action to compensate for significant wrongdoing. The key pieces of UK legislation that relate to privacy and personal data protection are the Data Protection Act of 2018, or DPA, which incorporates the EU's General Data Protection Regulations of 2018, and the Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulations 2003, otherwise known as PECA. A good source of consumer-friendly information about your digital rights is the UK's Information Commissioner's Office website. Here, you'll be pleased to learn that the DPA 2018 gives you the right to be informed about data use, the right to access to your data, the right to rectification of wrong data, the right to restrict processing to the original intended process, the right to portability of your data, the right to object against processing, the right to an explanation of how automated algorithmic processes have made a personal decision about you, and the right to be notified of any data breaches. The rights apply to all EU citizens regardless of whether the website is in the EU or not. The big takeaway from PECA is that you may only be marketed to with your explicit consent. It has to be an opt-in, not an opt-out. It's also worth knowing that the GDPR obligates digital businesses to comply with its principles of data protection by design and by default. If the people, processes, or technology in a business are not aligned around privacy protection, then action can be taken by the Information Commissioner's Office. And unlike previous legislation, GDPR has some teeth. Companies can be fined up to €20 million, or 4% of annual global turnover, whichever is greater, for GDPR infringements. Max Schrems, a lawyer and privacy activist, filed GDPR infringement cases totaling €3.9 billion against Google and Facebook on the first day GDPR came into force. And there's been a steady stream of less ambitious cases in the courts. In the UK, British Airways has been fined €204 million, and Marriott Hotels €110 million for GDPR data infringements. And the climate is certainly favourable to legal action against big tech. Authorities in Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands have advised against using WhatsApp, Facebook, and Microsoft's Office 365 on the basis that those services are incompatible with GDPR compliance. And in the US, Amazon has faced a class action lawsuit over the security breaches of its Ring doorbell system. But big tech has its own teeth, and it continues to fight tooth and nail against any privacy legislation that restricts its surveillance business models. Competing against the $500 million they've spent on lobbying politicians in the last decade is an uphill struggle for voters.